What up, though? Welcome back to World Heavyweights Live, WorldSports.com. He's joined by Spimo Rex, Young Chris.
What up, though?
Yes, Silent Mike in the building, but we are also joined by Alex Clancy from Locked On Cardinals. We had to get a Cards guy in here because obviously Lions got a lot of hype around them nationally and all around. The Cards, they're kind of scaring me now. They're kind of scaring me this year. Is this legit, Alex? Are they a threat to my Lions?
Who the hell knows? You know, I mean, it seems like they've played two very competitive games. One was a blowout, and one was, toe-to-toe in Orchard Park against one of the best AFC teams we've seen in the last 5 or 7 years. So it seems the tea leaves would be leading that way, but it's still week 2, man. I mean, anything could happen on Sunday.
And what we've seen out of the team so far, or the game plans, the Lions against the Lions offense, which was so good the past 2 years, is they've been trying to take away the middle of the field where guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta make their money. Well, who on the Cardinals would Lions fans have to look out for to be in that role? Would it be? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need me here. That's right. Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson, man.
Yeah.
Jalen Thompson's a very underrated guy. In Cardinals world, we know who he is, and he's a great backup dancer to Budda Baker. But yeah, it's going to be him. You're going to see Kazir White. You're going to see Mac Wilson, the two linebackers in the middle of the field. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the corners. The one thing about Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis' defense is there is a base, but there really isn't a base. If they have 7, talented corners, they're going to find a way to put them all out there. Like, it's this weird thing where they play the man, they play the scheme of the offense, and not necessarily just have a traditional base. So you could see a whole lot of things, but yes, Budda Baker lingering over the top is something every offense needs to watch out for.
Now, I noticed, so our guy Aiden Hutchinson's off to like a historic start, at least here in Detroit. 5.5 sacks in the season. He's been going against backup tackles. Kelvin Beachum coming up, but he also has some starts in his back pocket as well. He's been around the league for a while. What caliber of offensive tackle is he going up against? Can he have a repeat of last week?
Yeah, he can. I mean, he could double his sack total on Sunday. But Kelvin Beachum's been one of the best signings. I was a huge non-fan of Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury, the last regime. That was one of Steve Keim's better signings. It was very under the radar. He comes in when DJ Humphries was here, when he got hurt. He would come in, and he's a great swing tackle for the Cardinals who can play both sides of the field. He had an upwards of 80 Pro Football Focus rating last week. Aiden Hutchinson is going to get his, but I think Kelvin Beachum is good enough to chip him, where last week, I don't know what's going on with Tampa Bay's offensive line, but the Cardinals' offensive line is either at par or better than them. Kelvin Beachum, he holds his own, but as I've said since, coming into sports media when Kyler Murray was drafted, the best offensive lineman the Arizona Cardinals have is Kyler Murray's legs, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, that's the other piece I was going to say, because I want to give Detroit Lions fans hope. I'll give them hope for a victory here. And some of the things I pieced together from that offense last week is I feel like a lot of it wasn't drawn up. It felt like the playground ball where Kyler Murray's out there scrambling, just fuck it, Marvin's down there somewhere.
Yeah, and the thing that I've been struggling with after watching that, as a football fan, it's like, wow. I mean, how can you get better than 158.3 in a 31-point win against a division foe, even though they're hobbled? But you don't want to see that. You don't want to see the unscripted plays as much as we've seen them. And that's where Kyler eats. I call them the gray plays, where they're just, all right, go do it. And he does a lot more than fails. But Drew Petzing's offense is a lot more militaristic. It's run the ball, it's play action, it's find Trey McBride, it's find Marvin Harrison Jr. You want more of that with the peppering in or the sprinkling in of the oh my God moments that I call them from Kyler Murray. That's the perfect balance. But, I mean, it could have been a lot worse than what we saw. Just that's where he gets hurt. That's where it strikes fear in other, in opposing teams, media members and things like that from teams they play. But you want to harness that a little bit more if you're the Cardinals. That's a last resort, and it's not something that you can just rely on all the time. I mean, him hawking the ball, like these DBs and and edge rushers are really good. Like he should have been sacked 4 or 5 times this past game. You can't fight with that every week. You got to have a more consistent game plan.
That's something I was going to ask, because the Detroit Lions last year had the second best run defense in the NFL. They added a guy in DJ Reader who is one of the best run stuffers in the NFL this year. And the first 2 weeks of the season, it's looked like the best run defense in the NFL, where the Rams just completely abandoned it and had Stafford throw the ball 50-plus times. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers basically did the same thing and just had Baker running around back there. Are you worried if that's what happens, if we shut down James Conner and they just give Kyler the ball and tell him to throw it 50 times?
Yeah, but I think that Kyler Murray is the most talented at this point in his career and their respective careers than the other two guys. And I think he can make more happen with less. Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer. Baker Mayfield I have the utmost respect for that guy. Like, he will run through a wall. He's a quarterback that anybody would want on their team. Kyler Murray just has more talent, and he's really smart, and he knows how to use his undersized frame. If they stop the run, that's going to be bad for the Cardinals in the sense that another thing that I say a lot because the Cardinals defense isn't great this year is the best defense the Cardinals have is their run game, where you run the clock, you run the ball, you eat clock, you set up play action. But the Cardinals now have Marvin Harrison Jr. with the confidence of what he did last week. Trey McBride is going to be tight end 1 at the end of the year, in my humblest of opinions. Sorry, Sam Laporta fans. But they've got options more than the other two, even with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I give Kyler Murray the edge. But if the Lions defense shows up the way that everybody expects it to, this could be a tough day for the Cardinals.
I'm hoping that's the case, man, because, yeah, you guys kind of scare me. You reminded me of the Detroit Lions on the come up a little bit last year because, yeah, the record wasn't great, but I feel like he gave every team –
It's scary.
See,
yes.
It's really interesting you say that. For the last 18 months, I've been saying the Cardinals need to map their rebuild around what the Lions did. Two perennially losing organizations forever. Like, forever.
Hey, you guys made a Super Bowl at least.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, like Chris Collinsworth said, it was the worst roster to ever make a Super Bowl. They should have won it, yes, but they didn't, okay? So that was 4 or 5 good games with Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald. Overall, a terribly run, dysfunctional, poor organization. And you look at with the Lions, like, they've got rich history, a great fan base, don't win a whole lot of games. The Matt Millen years, awful, like all those things. But look at what you've done, a complete rebuild, overhaul. And that's what I've said. The Cardinals, that's the team you got to map it, because if I would have told you guys 10 years ago that this is where the Lions would have been at, you would have wanted to drug test me.
Yeah.
So it's just a different frame of mind moving forward. But yeah, I've been watching the Lions from afar in awe, especially right after, when they traded for Jared Goff. I've been a Jared Goff truther for a long time.
Yeah.
Give me a different thing, he's also a Jared Goff truther, but I think it's the opposite of what you're saying.
I'll still love him, though.
Yeah.
Listen. I think Sean McVay just did him dirty. I think that, like, Jared Goff's kind of a nerd. He's not very LA, but the dude is 6'3", 240. He's got a cannon. You put a good offensive line in front of him. You develop him a little bit. You have Ben Johnson. You could definitely win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff.
And speaking of quarterback play, there is something that I've done a lot of research on. I've put in the man hours. I've looked it up about Kyler Murray, and this is the Call of Duty bubble. It is the arc of Kyler Murray's career wrapped around when Call of Duty drops. And of course, I don't know if you were a fan, but the new Black Ops coming out, it's supposed to be insane. It's supposed to be the best Call of Duty in the past 20 years. Are you worried about the Kyler Murray Call of Duty drop-off?
That's week 8, right? So we got some time. The Cardinals aren't supposed to win a bunch of games this year anyway, so we got some time. Now, if here's the thing about Kyler Murray. Would you rather him be partying in Scottsdale until 4 a.m. and getting DUIs and stuff like that? Like, that's been my whole thing. It's like, yeah, he's an introvert. Cool. The one thing that we've seen about Kyler Murray, and all joking aside, it was a thing. The homework clause was a thing. Michael Bidwell completely fumbled that. And then Kyler Murray got a head coach who actually deserved to be coaching in the NFL, unlike the last one.
For sure.
And he's matured 1,000,000% over the last 18 months. After he tore his ACL, everything changed. It's like, oh, I'm not invisible. I can't just show up and be the best player on the field, because that's what he did his entire life, playing football. So listen, he's going to earn Black Ops on October 24th, whatever the hell it is. And he's going to earn whatever he wants because he's put the work in, and he's a guy who is now a leader of men and an absolute mature NFL quarterback. It just takes people a lot longer sometimes when you don't have the ecosystem, like other quarterbacks do, like Patrick Mahomes and other guys do.
Yeah. All right, so I hate when I go on other people's shows and they ask me to give them a score. I hate predicting scores. How about this? What are the keys for a Cardinals victory? Like, what are your biggest insecurities that they got to overcome to beat the Detroit Lions?
I don't think the Cardinals can, I think it's around 50s, the over-under. I don't think the Cardinals can win 13-10, 21-17. It's got to be a Huckett, 60 points scored, last team with the ball wins. And I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. The Cardinals defense is a year away. Got a lot of young guys, even with Budda Baker. Their pass rush is non-existent, even though they got to Stafford, who had me as an offensive lineman, last week 5 times. It's going to be difficult for them to deal with 2 of the best lines in football. I think it's going to be closer than people expect, just like with the Bills. But I do think that the Lions will, I think they'll win by 6, 30-24 or something like that. But it's going to be close, and it's going to be a respectful loss by the Cardinals. And if they beat Washington the week after, they'll be 2-2 when some people had them, winning less than 6 games this year. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. Now, the Cardinals can 100% win this game also. If Jared Goff gets happy feet and turns the ball over like he has a proclivity to do from time to time in bunches, like if there's a defensive score by the Cardinals are winning the game. So he can't turn the ball over.
And Alex, we appreciate your time so much. This is a fantastic interview.
And crushed me.
You said you admired the Lions rebuild from afar. I like to ask this to every guy we have on from a different city or covers a different beat. What is your favorite Dan Campbell-ism? Because he's kind of, the face of this team right now, and he's very boisterous and has all these quotes and always got the Applebee's commercials. So what's your favorite Dan Campbell-ism?
That he knows he's a nerd and he just lives in it. Like, he'd be like Big Bird's uncle or something like that. Like, but the thing is about it is Mike McDaniel never gets mess for being a weirdo. Mike McDaniel's the biggest weirdo on the thing, and he just runs around like, I saw a tweet once where it was like, he walks around the field like he's covering for his dad when his dad's out of town. Like, Dan Campbell rolls in. Dan Campbell deserves it. He had a weird time in Miami years ago. He comes in. Nobody believed it was going to happen. It was like, Robert Sala's going to get it done, not Dan Campbell. He's the CEO, head coach, and that's fine. Hold on to your coordinators. Hold on to Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson for as long as you can. Dan Campbell's going to be fine. Everybody's going to want to play for him. Everybody's going to want to work for him. So while he's kind of a goof and he loves, like, in his huge stature, he can be a total goofball. When the whistle blows, every single member of that Detroit Lions team and fan base, I would assume, would run through walls for him. So you want that balance for sure.
Alex, you're absolute man. Thank you for taking the interview. I know you had stuff to do today. My last, I like throwing these curveballs at people. If 10-year-olds were coming at you in waves, no weapons, how many levels are you making it to?
I won't even turn the damn game on, man. Are you talking about Call of Duty?
No, just you.
What are you
just you, and then every okay, you're in a room. Yeah, you're in a room.
Yeah.
And a 10-year-old comes in. All right, you gotta,
fight your way out.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Fight my way out. Oh, how many?
After you complete
what are we doing here? What's
two more
coming in Detroit, dude?
We're eating cats, dude.
What are we doing? I would say how many levels? Probably 25?
That's a good answer.
Like, what's the number I'm supposed to give?
No, I
don't know. Always number somebody's given that you made fun of them for.
Like 7, I think.
What are we doing here? They're 10 years old, man.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Trevor Sikkema gave us like a 6 or something like that.
Yeah, you could pick one up and swing it at the other one.
That's Trevor. Trevor was on my show 2 days ago. I'm going to give him so much crap for that. What are we doing here? But he's a sweet guy. He's a nice dude.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't want to hurt too many people. So I get that.
Yeah.
Sure. Alex, we appreciate you so much, man.
You got it.
Amazing interview. Thanks so much.
Check out Alex on Locked On Cardinals. Got anything else you want people to follow you on?
Yeah, and what do you got coming out soon?
At Clancy's Corner _ on Twitter. Locked On Cardinals Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcast, YouTube. Let it rip.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
so much,
I appreciate
Alex.
you.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Great stuff.
That was a great interview.
Yeah. Great kid.
Shout out to Alex.
Shout out.
It makes me like the Cardinals.
I kind of low-key did.
He was a nice guy.
He was a cool guy. Very cool guy.
He brought the energy for sure.
Yeah, definitely.